Hello, everyone. Welcome to ContentBox Cubed. This is our July 2016 road show. It's our month-long extravaganza. We've got blog posts been flying out over at the Order Solutions blog, so if you haven't been reading all those, please check them out. This is the second of 5 free webinars led by the Ortus team in the community. We're going to have Jorge doing this one, but Gavino needed to fill in for him. And of course, all of this is talking about the amazing, illustrious ContentBox 3. And of course, we are recording these sessions. We love to do road shows for all of our products around major releases because it gives training, and we like to focus on our developers. And of course, we have the ContentBox 3 release candidate, which is out right now. We're winding that down for a final release. So it's just good timing. And we really want to get lots of contributions
Okay, well, thanks everybody for coming. Let me get my screen shared here. Okay, so everybody can see that, I hope. Okay, and I have the chat window open, everybody. So if you guys start uh, making comments or asking questions, I'll try and keep that on my eyesight as well. So, okay. Okay, so everybody, we're here to talk about ContentBox 3, and we're going to go over the administration 101. So, a lot of the stuff we do as developers, we obviously talk about all the nuts and bolts underneath, but ContentBox is obviously a content management system, and anyone can use them. And so we wanted this station to really be more of a user standpoint. So if you're administering, managing, or maybe being just an editor for a website, this applies to you. So we're not going to show the nuts and bolts today. I'm going to show you how you actually use it to manage using in your pages and actually work with your website. So who am I? I'm Gavin Peckin. I've been developing web apps since the 90s. I'm a software consultant for Auto Solutions. I am the evangelist or advocate for ContentBox now. I would do a few other things. I blog GP Peckin. I have a Twitter, GitHub, LinkedIn. I also run the Cold Fusion repo as well. If you guys are looking for old installs, but not too much about me. get on with the show. So this one, basically, I'm just going to jump through the site. I thought instead of having a whole bunch of slides that don't really mean anything to anyone, I decided let's just click around on the site. So I have a site that I'm working on right now, the customer, and I'm just going through the starting point with that. So I thought I'd just click around, and if you guys have questions, let's just keep it really open, and let's just basically flow through a site. So first we'll look at user administration. Let me see if I can pull up the right screen here. So this is the back end of this website. So this is the new dashboard and everything else. So we have lots of menus on the side. We'll cover a decent number of them today. So we're going to start on the users first. So this is obviously the base of everything here. So we've got a couple of users in the system already. You've got different options if we want to create a new user here. It's pretty simple. So if we want to make one for Brad. Just so you know here, there's actually some pretty complicated security settings now on your password. So one of the security updates we've made in ContentBox 3 is that you have to actually use a few different options. Let's see if I can just use a simple password and see what it'll do here. There we go. So you have to have at least one digit, one uppercase, one lowercase, and one special character. So Since Brad is special, we'll do them all here. Oop, there we go. Okay. So pretty simple. Probably like most other systems you worked before. You notice it grabbed the Gravatar right here as well. So that's part of ContentBox. It'll actually look at gravatar.com to pull in the pictures for your users. You got several different options here. You can actually import and export as JSON XML for if you wanted to move users between multiple ContentBox sites as well. So the great thing with that is that you may run 4 or 5 sites and you can actually just export your users, and that way you can just import them into another site. So it's a pretty handy little tool there. Now, of course, just adding a user is not that special, but when you can go ahead and actually assign them to roles and permissions, that's where things get a lot more crazy. So right now we have 2 different roles. So we have administrators and editors. So if we actually go in here and edit our administrator, you've got some basic content there. But then if you go to manage permissions, this is where you can actually see which of the permissions, and there are a lot of different options you have here for ContentBox that this user might have. So by default, admin has all of these options. When we look at editors, you'll see that they only have a few. So there's actually quite a few here that the admins have that the editors don't have. So what this does, it really gives you some power and flexibility to be able to go and add a new user type. So maybe you only want them to be able to, look after something like the entries. So maybe they can look after just the pages. So you can actually make it real specific to a given portion of the site. So you may not let them export or import from the website because maybe you're a little concerned about the content you have or whatnot. So it's pretty flexible. The permissions themselves, this is getting a little geekier in here, but you can actually have it where you can set up new permissions and use them in your own modules. So we're going to talk about modules another time, but if you want to, you can actually create your own permissions, and then they show up inside the roles, and you can actually add them there. So um, it's really simple. You have a name of permission and a little description here, but what happens is that, like I said, once you've created the permission here, you can use them in different modules. So as you extend it, or if you have developers that work on it, you can build it into these modules, and that way your permissions are always there. So I think that's a nice, powerful system, really flexible, but again, simple as needed. Just create a user and use that type. And obviously, you can filter the users once you get a lot more users in your system. Okay, so let's see if there's any questions. Okay. There's a question about adding groups of permissions. Currently, there are no groups and permissions. I have thought about breaking them down a little more because basically with roles right now, when you add something to a role, it's a whole set at once. So we've talked about this. It might be something we add in the future. That way, if certain things are to do with, editors, we can maybe group them together, and then if you select that, it would get all of them by default. So maybe we could add an option over here for groups of permissions. So maybe that's something we should look at doing. So, okay, let's look at page management. So the next thing when you're working with your site, obviously, is your pages. So this site here, just a sample site I'm working on right now, still theming it and everything else, but we've got some menu options up here. This is for a nut company. Quality stuff, so you guys should check them out. Let's try my nuts. But in your sitemap is going to be where you manage all your pages. So as you can see here, we've basically listed all your pages. So the Try My Nuts Nut Company is the home page. We have a shop page. We have pages for nuts, my account, contact location, newsletters, everything else. So this is basically where you manage all your pages of the site. Now this is different from the blog, which we'll go over later. But if I come in here and click create a page, I'll show you some of the features. So basically, all you really need to be able to add a page is to put in a title. And when you do that, it creates a permalink. So this is the slug or part of the URL that's used for search engines. So you can see it's nice and search engine friendly here. That's built right in. And then you need to add some content. So this is where I add my content. Now, you can see below there's an excerpt. So sometimes when you're showing a list of pages, you may want a little blurb, and this is really useful for blogs where you have a blog page and you just want to have an excerpt or a blurb before it. So this is where you'd put a summary here, and then you'd have the full article in here, or the full page. This comes with an editor with lots of options. You can view the source code if you want to get into it. You can also go to full screen mode. When you're copying and pasting from things like Word, you want to use paste as plain text. You can do all the normals like bold, italics, etc. Using search engines, you want to look at using the right headings when you're using headings so that it shows up. But you can also do pictures and other things. And I'm going to show you more of this as we go through. There's also options for embedding YouTube videos. You can do some base text here. We also have widgets, which I'm going to go over later. You can insert. You can import from the content store, which is another feature ContentBox. You can actually pull in chunks of content. And then we can link to a ContentBox page or a ContentBox entry, which is a blog post. So all of these buttons are easily accessible from the editor here. We also have some other options if you want to change it up. We actually have a couple of different editors. The code editor actually has Markdown, so those who are geeky probably know what Markdown is, and you can actually do side-by-side preview as you're developing that. We also have options for if you want to save it in HTML or Markdown, and we also have Autosave here. So this will actually show you as things are getting saved in the system automatically, so you can actually go back a few seconds ago or minutes ago. So this is kind of nice as you're working on a page. Maybe you messed something up, you fell asleep, or your kid came up and deleted something. You can just go back a few seconds. So even though the page isn't saved, it has that option. It's kind of nice. So on the side, we have a lot of options here. We'll keep it simple. We'll just go through them real quick. So publishing, we have the published date. So you have a date and a time you can publish it. You can also set an expiration date. So the great thing with this is you can actually have pages for specials or deals or discounts that are available, and then as soon as they're not supposed to be there, they can turn off automatically. And every time you save, you can actually put a message in here, just a little message saying what I changed. You have a few different options here. So if you want to just save this or put it in draft mode, you could just do a save or draft. Clicking publish will actually publish it to the website. So if you just want to work on it and look at it, you can even have people preview it if they have a login. They can actually see the content. So you can save it and have people preview it before you go live. Display options. There are lots of display options here. You can actually embed your content. So you have a hierarchy. So here under Try My Nuts community, they have under that page, they have about us and FAQs and photos. So you can choose to be no parent, which is the main setting, or you can actually choose a parent, and that way it becomes a child object. So I'm going to leave it as no parent just for this here. You can also choose layout. So this theme that we're using has a few different layouts. So we have pages, but you can also use a blog theme, or you can choose a maintenance theme, and you've got different layouts for different formats as well. So usually we just keep it to pages, but you can actually create your own layout. So maybe you want to have a Christmas layout or something like that. You can actually change that up. Okay. You have options if you want to show it in the menu or not, if you want to show it in the search. So maybe you have pages you don't want to be searched, but you want it to show up in the menu when they're available. You can do that, or vice versa. You can also set related content. So you can actually add pages that are related, and then you can use that in your page to maybe have a series of blog posts can all be related together or whatnot. There are no links to this page currently, but you can also see what is linking to this page. You can also say if you want to allow comments or not. You can choose SSL or not. So lots of options here. We try and hide them all so you don't need to worry about them, but they are there if you need them. We even do caching as well, so you can actually see if you cache, if you have timeouts on cache or whatnot. That obviously will speed up your page, but not having to go to the database every time. And you can categorize your pages as well, and I'll show you this a little more soon. Right now we have HTML attributes right here. The latest version actually will have them up here as an SEO panel so you can get to them easier. This version I have does not have the latest updates that would be made. And you can also select featured images. So you can actually upload an image here which will be used as a default image for this. So the great thing with this now is the themes and the blog posts can actually pick up that main image and use them whenever you have a summary. So there's a lot in there. So pages are really powerful. Now, just so you know too, that the way that page works is a page is a specific type of content, and a blog is a specific type of content too. So a lot of these features in here are very similar with blogs. They have a few differences, and you'll see them as you work through them. But basically, the editor and a lot of the options are very much the same. So let's publish this, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so now we've got our sitemap. So here now we see we have a lot of different content. We have this at the bottom. You can click on this and actually drag your items up and down, so you can move them around. You've got options here to quick view, so you can actually see if it's got any categories, if it's comments are open or not, what layout it's using, etc. So as we go through, we can just see. So that's really handy. And you can see right here too, it keeps track of your click counts. So it'll actually keep track of how many people visited the pages and whatnot. This shows you if it's published or not. If not, it'll have a little airplane, I believe. And then here you can see if it's shown in the menu or not. So it's a really nice, nice simple layout here. You can obviously still filter. So if you want to see just posts by yourself, you can come in here and choose you. If I apply the filter, everything should still be visible. If I want to go back and just say someone else, you'll see no contents available. So again, we have a few options here, and if you guys have recommendations, let us know. We're working on a lot of different options here and trying to make all these screens better. So that's a pretty basic rundown of the pages. I'm going to go into a little more detail later, showing you how to add media or to use some of the widgets. So let's jump into the blogs and see how that works. But just so you know, I'm going to click around a couple of pages in here just to sort of see what they look like. So again, this is just a simple page. I'll just edit it in the back end so you can see. So it's just a bunch of text on a page. If we go in here, here's all the content. There's nothing too special. You'll see once you've actually saved it, you get a few more options at the top here. You'll see custom fields. You can actually add additional fields that can be used inside the system. So if you have modules that can tie into that too. It's kind of neat. You can customize your pages to make them work for your site. Another thing you'll see is history. So you'll see actually as someone has gone ahead and made changes to this, a new version will show up in here, and you'll see which one is active and versus the ones that are not. And then you can actually differentiate them. So you can say, oh, what's the difference between these two versions? You can actually choose them and do a diff, and what it'll do is it'll actually compare them. So it's pretty cool. It's really nice, especially when you're working with a team and you're not sure who did what when. This allows you to sort of step back and see that. And if you have comments open for a page or blog, they'll show up in here. So let's jump back to the blog. And you'll notice here that I've got this minimize menu here, which is kind of neat. You have an option here to toggle the navigation if you want the full menu. So this gets out of your way when you're editing. It's pretty nice. Okay, so we're going to go back to the content, and let's go to the blog. So again, you'll see that this looks very similar to the pages. There's a couple of things different. You'll see that the comments is showing up here, so you can actually see if how many comments have been made for blog or not. Again, very similar for quick info. The filters are very similar. So you'll notice that most of the things are very much the same. We see the categories show up here when you're working on them. And obviously, we've got a lot of blog posts here. So we have pagination, everything at the bottom as well. So let's go and click on one of them here. So we got some hot sauce reviews. I don't know if you guys like hot sauce or not, but these videos are pretty funny. We got a couple of things here. So again, let's just go over it. So we got a title, same thing. We have a permalink, same thing, although it does go off of the blog. So everything inside the blog lives in the blog folder, and you can customize it inside the settings, but the way this is set up, and by default, all your blog posts go under the blog here. So we have, again, the content. So we have a nice little text introduction here. We have the video, and this is just using the YouTube embed. And then we have a little extract here too. And I'll show you how that works. We didn't choose a featured image here. We haven't really done any on the SEO. But you'll see on the categories we have not reviews and videos checked. So these are the categories that this blog post will show up under. We didn't touch the cache settings, the modifiers, the link content, or the related content. So basically all we did is we add the title, the content, choose the date it was published, and saved. So if you look at the history here, just one save. So again, very much like a page, it just behaves a little differently on the front end, and that's the main difference. So when we go over here and click on blog, now you'll see the blog layout. So this is a little different than the pages, obviously. And again, I'm still theming the site, so I apologize for that. But now you'll see that we have a bunch of blog posts here, and you can see information that says it's posted by me, because I haven't updated it to actually be the client yet. You'll see the date that it was posted and the time. Yeah, you have the blurb. Now this is actually the extract here. So this is the extract from the blog post. If you want to see the rest of it, you actually click read more. And you can see here this is under tags of general. So here these are basically categories. So you'll see that some of them, the hot source ones here, have nut reviews and videos. So really simple. It shows you a number of comments. But if you click on nut reviews, for example, what now it does is it added a filter. So now all you're seeing is the nut reviews. If we remove the filter, you see all the blog posts again. You see everything here. Shows the categories on the side too, so you can see there's 8 articles. Let's talk about nuts. There's 11 videos. There's 11 nut reviews. There's one in the general. And this is the general one here. So let's read more. So this was posted just recently on their main site. So honoring independence, 4th of July reflection by Nutella. We got an image in here and just some basic text. But you'll see on the side, when we're in the blog mode, you have a lot of options. So you have the categories, so this shows you categories here, but also shows you the most recent entries. And you have options for an RSS feed. You can get them for the site. You can get them for just the blog post. And you also have all the categories here. So pretty powerful. And that's just the out of the box what you get with ContentBox blog posts. So let's look at this blog post a little more here. So we go back to blogs, and let's look at the 4th of July one. Because that'll get us into the next thing, which is Meteor Management. Okay, so we scroll down here, we'll see that we have the American flag here. So the image tag here gives you all the options. We should really put an alt text in here so we can have the American flag and any other information we want to have in here. But alternative text shows up if the image is not loaded, and the search engines also use this. But you have width and height, so we can change the width and height right here. You can add a border onto it if we want. We can give it vertical space or horizontal space to move it out. You can even align it to the left or the right. If you don't align it, it'll just choose the default text alignment on the page. You can also make your images link. You can browse the server to find a link, which is kind of nice. This will actually allow you to link to things in the Media Manager. This is the ContentBox file browser, so it allows you to go in and actually choose stuff for the Media Manager to link to a PDF or something like that. Or you can just paste the URL in here. Now, you also have the targets. You can pop it up in a new window or itself or whatnot. And then you also have advanced options here. So if you want to get into the code, you can actually change style sheet classes, and you can give it a title, and then you can see all the margins and everything generated here for you in this. Let me just cancel that. So say we want to add a new image here. So what we're going to do is we're going to click up here where we want to put the image. We're going to click image. We're going to browse the server. This is going to pop up our little Meteor Manager here. So you got lots of options here. You can refresh the list. You can come back to the home part of the page. You can create folders, rename them, delete. We can upload files. We can download a file. We can actually get a preview of the images and whatnot, and you can organize them differently too. So if we change the organization, you'll see that now we have a folder and actually gives you a preview of what the files are. If you go back to list mode, it's just a straight list. So under the blog, I actually put a few options in here. So I actually have a picture already. So if you right click on it, you'll get a few options too. So you can select it, rename it, delete it, download it from here. So it's not the best editor in the world, but it's really powerful. I've worked with several content management systems, and I like the way it's working. We have a new feature which is about to be introduced too, which actually allows you to crop and resize the images. So I'm really happy with that tool, and one of our supporters has been working on that. So I can't wait to get that in there. So it's getting better all the time. So we like that picture. So we're gonna actually come down here and click choose. So now we have this picture in here, and it has the width and the height. So what we're going to do is just change it here. So let's change it to 500 wide. No, it's a little big. Let's do 400 wide by that. And we're going to align it to the left. I'm going to put this in here. So now you can see that I got the image in here, and all the text is hot up against it. So if you double click on the image, you come back here. I always give it about 5 or 10 horizontal space, just to give it a little border. And that'll actually allow the text to wrap around it, and that looks pretty good. Still pretty big, so let's just drop it down. Now, just so you know, by changing the width here, you aren't actually resizing the image, you're just making the browser show it small. So if it's a really, really big image and you change the width here, obviously it's going to come out. It's going to download a massive file and just show it really small. So we always recommend creating smaller versions of it. And like I said, we are working on a bunch of tools that you can click on an image and say create thumbnails, and so you can make smaller versions from it. So it's coming soon. But for now, don't upload a picture from your camera and then expect to have it showing here and loading quick. So here we've just updated this blog post. I think it's working pretty nice. So let's just save this. And you'll notice when I click save, it says draft saved. So what you want to do is you always want to make sure you click publish so it's actually live. If you click save, it actually will create a version which is put aside for drafts, and that way you'll actually be able, you have to review it and then publish again. So always want to click publish. I always forget to do that. See now on the front end, you'll see that we have the image showing up here. We have the 4th of July reflection, looking pretty good. Now, when we go back to the blog page though, you'll see the image doesn't show up here. So what if we want to show the image up here? Well, that's what the excerpt is for, if you remember, right? So I'm going to cheat. I'm just going to copy this, and I should come down here and just straight paste it into here. So these editors are good. You can paste between them, but it does have the option for the images here, and we could actually add, all the other elements directly in here. But since we have it there, we can just cheat. So I'm going to click publish. Now on the front of the site, when we click refresh, we'll have the image showing up there as part of the excerpt. And this is a little close here. You see it's right underneath the image, so we want to make sure that we give it a little bit of vertical padding, not just horizontal padding. So let me do that real quick. So if we give it some vertical space as well, that just puts like a little invisible border around it, basically. And we'll click publish. Okay, so that's the basics of using the blogs and the pages. So let's look at a little more. So say we want to go into our media manager. You can do it straight from the content part here. And maybe you want to upload a bunch of files. So what you may want to do is maybe make a new folder, so let's make a new folder real quick here. We'll call it tests. Double click on it. So maybe I want to upload 3 or 4. What you can actually do is open up Explorer and just drop and drag. And that's the best way to upload stuff here. Lightning fast, here it is. So now you got those 3 different images. We want to right click on them and say quick view. You can see what they look like right here. So again, this is a nice little tool just to get images in there. You can do that for PDF documents or whatnot as well. So if you want to upload, PDFs that you want to link to, maybe you got an order form or something, that's easy to do there. So once it's in the Meteor Manager, they're available to use throughout the site. So let's go back to the sitemap here. And I want to show you on the home page, because that's where everybody likes to go. We're going to get on the bottom of the home page. And let's just look at the front here so you can see what it looks like. We've got a little widget at the top here, and we've got, you see down the bottom here, actually has a shop. So how did I do this? Well, there's a trick. Actually, I'll show you another trick. See this page include right here? This is a widget. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to delete the widget. Oops, wrong button. That's tricky. Okay, sorry. So what you can actually do in here, if you want to go to a certain part of your page, you can actually click on the insert widget, and then we have a bunch of widgets in here. We're adding more all the time. We've got different ones from ContentBox. You can do content related ones, you can do layout related ones. There's miscellaneous, and then there's utility. So what I'm going to do in this case is I'm actually going to do content. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually include another page. So if we go over here and you go to shop, I actually have a page called shop, has all the items on it, and this is my shop page. So if I go look inside the page sitemap, you'll actually see that there. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to include a page. So on this page, I'm going to include another page. So in here, I just basically choose the page I want to include, which is shop. And then if you want to, you can put a little message. In case someone deletes the shop page, you can actually put a message saying no shop exists, or the shop is down for maintenance, or something like that. But then you can actually insert it. So when you insert it, it creates this little widget here. It gives you some details. It actually gives you a description of what's in there. And you can right click to edit the widget. You can obviously remove the widget from there. Um, but what it does is it actually includes the page. So let me publish it. Now we go to the home page. You'll see that this page is actually inserted in the other page. So now let me change the page, and we'll see how that changes. So maybe we have another one. We want to put the contact information on the bottom of this page. So instead of the shop, we want the contact page. So I'm going to change it to the contact us and locations. And so you'll see the content showing up there. Oh, just so you know too, when I chose shop, you'll see that nothing shows up here. And the main reason for that is that shop is a special plugin from a third-party vendor, so it uses JavaScript to show. So it doesn't show up in the preview. But if you choose something else, you'll actually see what's on that page. So, okay, so we're going to click Update Widget. And now when we save the page, refresh, you'll see all that content is included at the bottom of the page, just like it was part of the page. So that's a pretty cool little widget. There's lots of widgets there, but the main reason we like that type of widget is you can actually build up a hierarchy. And so you may actually, for organization, you may want to have one page in your menu, but you may want to make that page up of 5 or 6 little pages. So what we can do is, just add a bunch here, and then basically include them one by one. But you can also see here, this one is a plus. Now, Try My Nuts Community is actually a set of pages. So this itself is a page. But if I click the plus, these are the pages underneath it. So if I edit the About Us page, this page actually has a parent of Try My Nuts Community. So when you're actually adding them, you can actually create them with a hierarchy there, and that shows up in the sitemap. So if you want to add something like this and keep all your pages as pieces of content, you can actually add them as separate pages and then do the include pages to add them to another page. But maybe we want to do something a little different here. So what we can actually do is add another widget. I'm going to go content. So here, this widget renders content store content anywhere you like. So what it allows you to do is to pick something from the content store. Oh, there's an error because there's nothing in it. Pick something from the content store and actually display it. So instead of having to have a whole bunch of pages laying around, that's not really easy to use or friendly. So let's just add a content store item. So under content store, you actually create content. It has a title. So this is my special content. I'm just going to make a slug for it. This is my special content from the content store. And then the actual content itself. I'm going to copy paste. You'll see this is a content item too. So it still has publishing date and time and expiration date and time, and it has related content and link content and cache settings and categories. So even though this isn't a page or a blog, it still has this, which is great. And you can do custom fields. So this is actually what we use for a lot of different modules. We actually make it where we can um, save for testimonials, and that's actually what I'm going to do with this site. I'm going to make a content store item that has all the testimonials for the site. So I'll add custom fields in here for name, Jim Bob, and then I'll add another one for location, and then I can add another one for and so basically I can actually add these custom fields into this content. You can do this for pages and blog posts too, but it makes a lot of sense when you're making a content store item. So basically you're just making a block of text or content that you're going to use elsewhere. So I'm going to click publish here. And then I'm going to go to a page and dump my content store item. So well, let's show some, let's do something a little tricky here. I see you guys are asking questions and Luis has been awesome about answering them in the chat, so I'll just keep going here. Okay, so remember on the Try My Nuts page here, we included the contact page. So let's see if we can go to the contact page and include a widget and see if that gets included all the way to the front. So at the top of this page, just for simplicity, I'm going to add a widget. So instead of doing a page include, we're going to use a content store item. And like I said, there are plenty of other widgets here, and I don't have time for all of them today, but let's just play with a couple here. So here's my special content. So this is the slug. And if it doesn't exist, you can actually put something there too. So maybe someone deleted something from your footer or something, you could do that. So I'm going to insert my widget. So here at the top of the page, then have this widget. So now I can click publish. So now, if I refresh, the home page, which includes the contact page, which includes content store, should work. And we should see them all. Did it work? No. Ah, that's my fault. I forgot. When you're including a page, you're not actually executing the page. It's a little different. So I need to play a little more. So let me just do the content store here. Actually, if we go to the contact page, it should be there. There you go. There's a special content. So yeah, so when you include a page, it doesn't actually go and render all the objects inside of it. So I have to change the way it works. I believe I can do a render widget. Let me see here. So let me try this here. Of course, I'm going a little geeky here, but this is the type of thing you guys might get caught up with. I know I've got caught up with it in the past. So inside the contact us and locations, let's see if we can find another widget which will actually render it. Because basically, when you include it, just as a basic include, but we want actually to render a page. So render view. So I think that's what I need to use. So I need to do that inside the home page. So let me just try this real quick. Has anyone got any questions, anything they want to see? I know we've gone through quite a few things. There's still more we can probably add, but just wondering if there's anything else you guys want to see. Please let me know. I'm going to try and figure this out because okay, so I have to actually pass the view. So this is a little more of a technical one here. So okay, so John wanted to play with it on his system. Can he see that? Well, you can definitely play with it. You can get it up and running with ContentBox in one easy line. You can just do a box install ContentBox -be and then and server start, a box server start, and you actually get your site up and running pretty quickly here. Last week's session, we went over a lot more of all the new stuff in ContentBox, but it's pretty easy to get running if you guys can just get ContentBox installed. So hit us up later and we can help you get that installed if you'd like. Let me just see what else we should go through. So, of course, whenever you have a site these days, it's important to think about things like importing and backing up. So let's go to the export tools here, show you some of that. So we have a couple of options for exporting. Option 1, you can export everything, and option 2 is Mr. Picky. So maybe you're working on a site and you decide, you wanted to export just your content store items. You could just uncheck everything and just export these. But what it does is it basically creates an item, tells you how many they have. So you've got email templates are getting zipped up. There's 13 of them. There's 21 entries. There's 14 items in the media library. You see that all these are zipped up or JSON files. So this is basically showing you what your export would actually create. To create it, you just click this, and it pops up a file for you so you can save it. You'll see this is a C box. This is like a content box item. So if you'd like to do that, you can save it off as a C box, and then later on, or on a different server, if you want to switch servers, you can just import it. So you can import this package right here. And so to do that, you just select the file and find your file and import it. We're not going to do that now because I'm in the middle of it. But you can also do a database import. So this is great because if you see right here, it supports Mango, WordPress, Blog CFC, MacBlog, all via database connections. So if you're on the same server, if you can get a database connection to your WordPress site, you can say import, put in some details here on where it's coming from. So if you want to come from WordPress, here's the prefix, the default password, and the role. You can actually import all your WordPress stuff in there. And as someone just mentioned inside the chat, it was Luis, we're working on a Mira importer. For those in the Cold Fusion world, Mira is probably the only other real updated content management system. Mango and Blog CFC are all very out of date. No one is really maintaining them right now. So once we've got the Mira importer working too, you can do that. So Daniel asked if we can import the database from version 2. Currently, we have a special module created called the ContentBox Updater, and there's some instructions in the Git book, which I'll show you shortly. But basically, you have to work through a special module to import from version 2 to 3. So once your site's updated,